Hey, this is Bethany Boring. Welcome back to the Radical Care for Christian Counselors podcast. I'm so excited that you're here. The reason that we do this podcast is for Step Out and Thrive, where I work with mental health counselors, but also pastoral care leaders, missionaries, moms and dads, people that really want to connect deeply with others, but would rather do it in a small group format. But how do you do that? And how do you get the care that you need? And how do you care well for others? Well, that's what we get to practice. And we've just been sharing a little bit in this episode and this series all about some of the physical challenges that I have. And I thought it'd be fun to do a summer series where I kind of break things down and just share a little bit about my experience. And you guys can ask me questions and get curious with me. But it's kind of a fun topic to talk about, at least for me. And I always welcome your all's questions. And so last week, we kind of talked about vision and my vision loss and some of the changes that happened with that. This week, we're talking about hearing loss. So as you know, I wear awesome behind the ear hearing aids. And I've had hearing issues ever since I was born. And my left ear, the canal is not formed properly. So it's been just weird to even get a hearing aid to stay in there. In my right ear, I used to have a hole in the eardrum. And I still have some other just major physical defects in the ear as well. And so it's hard for sound to travel. And it's really easy, evidently, for water to get stuck in there because I do get ear infections. I'm still amazed how easy that is. This being said, one thing that God has been taught me about all of this is that just the joy of having someone with you who understands. I think I talked about this a little bit in the first episode when I talked about Charge syndrome as a whole, but my son Matthew, my youngest son, has hearing loss as well. He was born with hearing loss, bilateral. And so he started out as young as I think it was a couple months old, wearing hearing aids. And I remember at first when we were going through all that, just trying to get the stupid hearing aids to stay on his head, right? We had to use toupee tape. I'll never forget that. Just because he would constantly pull them off. And he would do it so hard that he would literally pull the hair out of his head. So we had to be very careful when he was wearing them and how to do that because he would pull at them and it would just cause issues. But as he got older, I remember this one specific time that he was going to get, as we call it, big boy hearing aids, meaning he was older and he was ready for hearing aids that he could control. He was so excited. And as we went to the office, I knew it was going to happen because I've walked through this process. He got to choose the colors. I thought I was prepared for that, but I never got that option. In fact, I was always told, hey, let's get a natural skin color so, it's easy to hide. You don't want to have people feel uncomfortable, right? Meanwhile, Matt gets to choose the brightest colors that he wants. And part of me as a mom was happy because just in case he did lose it, we could find it, which we've had to do a couple times. As he was going to get the molds made and had to ask all these questions, to watch his excitement, to watch how interesting it was for him to hear new sounds. It just made me so happy because this was totally different for me growing up. Anytime I would go to get a new hearing aid or even have it adjusted, I would have huge, huge headaches. So although I liked it, it was also just so hard. I remember sometime just if the whole hearing aid malfunctioned, I'd have to take them off and pretty much just go deaf. And it's just weird being in that environment where you hear nothing and life is happening around you, but you can't interact with it. It's one of the hardest places to be. I share all this because my son has walked through a lot of those moments as well. And I think we're able to relate at a deeper level around that few are. And the great thing about it is that he actually has a podcast called Matthew the Encourager. And on one of the episodes, he got to talk about how neat it is to have hearing aids and how God created him in this moment. God created him to wear hearing aids and how special that was. I think if you had anybody else for mom, especially mom that didn't have hearing aids, if you'd still think the same way. And I don't know. But I think it's amazing what God is doing. So never doubt God's timing. And never doubt the importance of true, deep connection. Dare to do more than just survive. Step out and thrive. Go chase beauty.